With 2023 in view and nothing more for these politicians as they care less about anybody, APC Bola Ahmed Tinubu's political miscalculations that men do not learn very much from the lessons of history, outdoes Leonard Huxley, late English writer and philosopher, once said, is the most important of all the lessons of history. Huxley lived long enough through the 19th century to the 20th century and read wide enough to have been able to arrive at this conclusion. Indeed, men never learns from history and recent events in the All Progressive Congress, APC, as it concerns the godfather of Lagos state politics, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, bears eloquent testimony to this inability. In 2013, Tinubu led the Southwest into an alliance with the North to birth the APC with the immediate agenda of removing Goodluck Ebele Jonathan from power and replacing him with a Northern president. It must have been with the expectation that the Southwest would take over by the time the North completes 2 terms in 2023. And obviously, with him as a potential president, how wrong. Although, as of the time of forming the APC, the primary focus of Tinubu Southwest was vice presidency. It was natural for the zone to assume that the alliance would return the favor of presidency when the North takes its turn. Tinubu had, of course, wanted to be vice president, but eventually had to accept the option of nominating a candidate to run with President Muhammadu Buhari, the eventual presidential candidate of the APC, who objected to the idea of having him on the ticket. But if anything, the alliance was a product of Tinubu's inability to learn from history, a reality the events of the past few days in APC have laid bare. I remember having an argument with a friend of mine in January 2015. He was sold to the Buhari's presidential project and swore to me that Buhari was going to win the election of that year and that after Buhari, Tinubu would take over power. It was weeks before the election, and although I didn't support Buhari, I wanted him to win. I have been alarmed by the kind of political tension building in the country, not just in the North, but also in Lagos. I was quite concerned that if Jonathan had won, there would have been crisis of monumental proportions, and the target would have been the Igbos. I agreed with him that Buhari would win, but assured him that he would regret the victory, as Buhari was never the person he thought him to be, and that Buhari would never hand over power to the Southwest or indeed anybody in the South. This is by Obina, and this is the viewpoint of Obina as regards Tinubu and the president right now that is not functioning as it's supposed to be. Of course, not long before after Buhari became president, the scale fell off the ice. And by 2019, he couldn't stand anyone supporting him to return for a second term. But this time around, I told him that Buhari would win again by any means necessary. And not only will he win, he will desire to go beyond 2023, but will at best hand over to another of his trusted allies from the North. It was an easy call, and it often amazed me that such simple fact appeared to be lost on Tinubu with his acclaimed political sagacity and a retinue of political advisors who had rich histories to draw lessons from. First, the idea that the North will, after being out of power for 13 years, having reluctantly given it up in 1999, return it to the South just after 8 years was one I couldn't explain. And if Tinubu had availed himself of lessons of history, he could have learned a thing or two from the experience of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, MKO Abiola, and so on. Even more befuddling is the idea that Buhari, who had joined politics in 2003 to stop Olusegun Obasanjo, will be the one to return power to the South, even in the event of that unlikely scenario. Obasanjo was supposed to return power to the North after completing 1 term in 2003. His insistence on going beyond that had led to the crystallizing of the opposition against him in the North, part of which was the Sharia crisis of the 2000s. That opposition was eventually led by Buhari, who built cult following in the region by challenging Obasanjo and the PDP. I also noted previously that the decision of Tinubu to help Buhari to power in 2015 was a historic political mistake, second only to Emeka Ojukwu going to war. The defeat of the East in the Biafra War helped to establish a hegemonic northern power. Tinubu helping Buhari to power sealed that hegemony. The reality today is that not only will the South not take power into 2023, Power will not leave the North in a generation unless there is an unanticipated event that distorts the current political trajectory. And in my own personal opinion, this is my opinion, unless Nigeria breaks up before then. Buhari is, of course, using his presidency to consolidate northern control of power in the country. His decision to cede control of all arms-bearing security agencies to the North is not coincidence. Neither is the decision to inflate vote figures in the North in the last election and suppress that of the South. What the president has said by the apparent fictitious results of the 2019 election, which saw vote figures from the North almost double that of the South, is that the North no longer needs the South to retain power, and with the force of arms firmly in their own hands, they can afford to produce and reproduce the figures in future elections. Unfortunately, while this pattern was being established, Tinubu's foot soldiers chose to become willing accomplices, believing that it was about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the People's Democratic Party. Yes, there is often the argument that Atiku is a northerner as much as Buhari. Those who pursue this line of argument, however, fail to realize that Atiku worldview is pan-Nigeria and that the worldview difference between him and Buhari is not the same. What Tinubu Southwest has succeeded in doing by helping Buhari to power, in putting the South into a form of political slavery and giving his kind of politics in Lagos, which increasingly creates a gulf between the East and the West, the South would remain ever more vulnerable at the mercy of the North. Indeed, as it stands, the only serious obstacle to Buhari is the economy, which I imagine will increasingly get worse and ultimately force certain fundamental changes in the polity as a way of avoiding total breakdown of law and order. Now, all this written, this article simply shows what is happening what's going to happen in the future. A lot of things are going to go wrong come 2023. In fact, I believe that before 2023, I mean few months before 2023, a lot of things are going to go wrong in Nigeria, as a lot of people will be used as political thugs. There will be a lot of political intrigues here and there, as we are seeing a little bit of them being played out right now. The NEC, the National Working Committee, has been dissolved, and they've brought in a caretaker from the North, and very, very nasty things are happening in the party. Now, I am not a partisan person. I'm not a supporter of party. As I see it as just a vehicle for them to achieve their political aim and their personal aim, not to serve the people anyway. I do not see these parties as anything for the people. But looking at both parties, PDP, which are the two major parties that we have in Nigeria, they are the ones that have the structure, the corrupt structures all over the states of Nigeria. They have structures already, and they have people on ground that are ready to do whatever they want. They have people that can dance to their whims and caprices. They have all of this. And with this, they believe that they can all slug it out. Come 2023, there is either going to be a new party formed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or something is going to happen. But whatever way it is, I think this is a bell ringing towards the break of Nigeria. And that's it, towards the break of Nigeria. But then, these politicians, once their interests align, one way or the other, you will realize that they will come together once again to make sure that they perpetrate the same thing. Once they are together, tribe is not important to them. It is only the people that they sell this issue of tribe to and ethnic issues they sell it to. And once in a while, they find themselves in the public. But the same person fighting that fought the person, someone last year, you will realize that they are embracing themselves and acting like they never did anything wrong or nothing ever happened between them. And you begin to hear them praise the other person again. These are people that speak from two sides of their mouth. And that is why things are what it is at the moment. So sad. Do you think that the miscalculation of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be detrimental to the southwest of Nigeria? Do you think if Tinubu or any of those people from there gets there, do you think there's going to be a change in your life, or it's just this sectional aggrandizement where you believe that someone from your own region is the president, and with this you feel good within yourself? Now, the question I will ask people that are much more interested on who and where and which region is do you think the lives of the Fulanis or Hausas are different because Buhari is there? No. Look at the security issues there. They are dying in huge numbers. Their ignorance is even increasing every day. So, whoever from whoever region represents you as president, does not add value to your life as citizens. That's it. So what is the solution to all of this big grammar and these political intrigues? Break away from Nigeria, which is not the solution, but a step towards the solution. If you agree to what I've said, drop your comment in the section below. And if you have other opinions, also drop it in the comment section below.